So I'll tell you who's a freaking awesome loan officer. It's Jennifer Miller in South Carolina. That's a freaking awesome loan officer. Jennifer, I appreciate you taking your time today and let me sit down and ask you a few questions because I know that you're a freaking awesome loan officer. I know that you're absolutely amazing. I know that you take better care of your customers than any other loan officer around you. But one thing is you may be a hidden secret to these people in South Carolina, and I want to get that secret out there. I want people to know just how awesome you are. So do you have time today for me to ask you a few questions?
I sure do.
All right. I appreciate you taking your time. Number one, what makes you stand out from other LOs? I know in my heart what it is, but in your mind, in your area, what makes you stand out from other LOs?
This is when it would have been good to have those questions ahead of time.
Of course it would.
What makes me stand out is I'm super passionate about what I do. I love the whole experience of helping people become homeowners. It's fantastic to be involved in one of the biggest purchases of somebody's life. And so it's great to build those relationships and get to have, your customers not just be your customers, but also be part of your extended family.
One thing I want to throw in there that I have seen, I've actually sat in your office and I've watched this, and it's absolutely amazing. I've been on the corporate side whenever your loans are going through, and this is one thing that I've seen from my side. You tell me what your opinion is. I have seen you take care of that borrower from the very beginning, not only answering the questions, but adding to, going above and beyond, and walking through with that customer and with that mortgage loan as it goes through the process as well, if not better, than any of the top loan officers in the country. I have been amazed at watching you, how tightly you hold that mortgage, how tightly you hold that loan for that borrower, taking care of it just like it's one of your children. What's your opinion?
Absolutely. I started in this business over 12 years ago, knowing nothing about mortgages. So I initially started as an assistant to a loan officer. Then I worked as a processor for a while before I even started originating. So that has given me a great view of the entire process. So I was able to learn from a lot of other loan officers' mistakes, perfect my process so that now I'm able to know the right questions to ask my customers to make sure that there's no hiccups down the road. So if somebody gives me a call and has, mentions their income, I know exactly what questions to ask to make sure that I ask for the right documentation up front so that my processor has a very easy job of processing the file. My underwriters, trust that I've gotten all of the correct documentation to them. So it just makes the whole process really, really smooth. And I think that I'm able to help my customers more that way because I have the extra experience as the processor, and I've been in this for 12 years now.
Awesome. So you say 12 years. Somebody's going to watch this video a year from now. What year did you get in the business?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have been in the business since spring of 2006.
Oh, great. So you got in right before the crash.
Yes. Managed to survive through it.
What a great time to learn. All right. Question number 2. What technology do you love using that's provided by your present employer?
Oh, goodness. Where do I start the list? We have an awesome app. Hancock Mortgage has an app that we are able to provide to our realtor partners. It's co-branded with them so that if we ever have a customer that wants to have all of the contact information for everybody involved in the process in one spot, they can through our app. They can open the app, contact their realtor, visit their website. They can apply for a mortgage right there, run different scenarios, save those scenarios within the system, and then also securely upload their documents. And that app also will keep them informed throughout the process, as their file moves through the steps. In addition to that, I love Listing Booster. So Listing Booster is an awesome tool that it's not specific to Hancock Mortgage, but it is used by, I believe, almost all of our branches, if not all of them. I love it because it helps me bridge that gap with realtors that for the longest time wouldn't sit down and have conversations with me because they would say, oh, I'm a listing agent. I don't need a mortgage person. Of course you need a mortgage person. I mean, can you ever get too much business? So because when you've got somebody that is a listing agent, they're selling a home, which means that person is going to be buying a home. So that's why it's great for me to have that connection with a listing agent. But also they get buyer leads. So it's great to, be able to help build their buyer side of the business as well and support their buyer's agents. So I really love Listing Booster as well.
I'm with you on Listing Booster. One of the greatest things about Listing Booster is what you just said. So the people who are specifically listing agents, they can actually build a team, in my opinion, and have buyer's agents on their team because they're continuously getting in leads off of their already listed property. I absolutely love it. All right. What changes are you going to do to increase leads in the next quarter?
So I have 2 Listing Booster, invite-only Listing Booster classes where I've invited 10 of the top agents in our area, 20 total because I'm doing 2 different classes, to just do a really intense presentation on Listing Booster and help them figure out how to get the most out of it, whether it's through utilizing Craigslist advertising with Listing Booster, or also just sharing some of the awesome follow-up scripts that Hancock has been able to perfect over the years and share with all of us loan officers and branch managers, so I can pass that information on to our realtors so that they can help boost their own listings and generate more leads for them as well as for us. Also, I plan on having a modern marketing class at the end of April to be able to share all of the industry knowledge that Hancock has gathered over the years as far as Facebook, EdgeRank, videos, and what people can do to help boost their business, what realtors can do to help boost their business and maintain a good Facebook presence. Because going forward, everybody needs to be on the front lines when it comes to social media marketing, because I'm not sure if you know this, but actually you do know this, the largest hotel company doesn't own a single hotel, right? The largest transportation company doesn't own a single car. It's Uber. The largest movie company doesn't own a single movie theater. So if we are not staying at the front cutting edge of technology, we're going to be left behind. And so I love that Hancock gives us the tools to be able to share that with our realtors. And in turn, that leads to a lot more leads for us.
So you're going to actually teach a social media class to your realtors on your own dime to help them with their business.
Correct.
Let me know if you want me there. I'll be there to do your kickoff class with you.
That would be fantastic.
This is going to be a good one, and this is that Bryant Gumbel try and make you cry question.
No.
You ready for it?
Yes.
What do you love most about being an LO?
Well, I can tell you what made me initially want to jump into the business. I went through some struggles myself back in the day, had some major medical problems, had to file bankruptcy, and lost the home that I had brought my children home from the hospital to. And so I felt like less of a parent when that happened. And so I had a loan officer that was nice enough to kind of take me under his wing, tell me what I could do to help fix my credit, and promised me if I did what he said, that in 3 years I could be a homeowner again. I didn't believe him, but I figured, what the heck do I have to lose, right? So I followed his steps, fixed my credit, and sure enough, 3 years later, I became a homeowner. And for me, that just made me feel like a parent again. So yes, that does make me want to tear up. So I don't want anybody that has the dream of homeownership to not be able to realize that dream. So whether it's people that, have unique income situations or have had credit struggles in the past, or just never thought that they could be a homeowner, I want to be able to help them, because I think that homeownership is just one of the best things ever.
Agree. It helps the community. It helps the family. It helps the core values. It is an essential part, in my opinion, of being an American.
I agree.
Do you have any tips or advice to help other LOs? Now, this is something that maybe you've seen other LOs don't do that they should do, maybe in Facebook groups, maybe in real life, maybe at other companies. But what is there a tip? If you could give LOs a tip right now to help them be just a little better, what would that be?
I think the best tip that I could give is just to advise everybody to give more and expect less. Because for me, my business has changed dramatically in the last year because I've decided that it was going to be a year of service where I'm going to help other people. And in turn, eventually it's going to come back to me. And so I have met with quite a few other loan officers that are happy with the companies that they're with, but just don't feel like they've got an awesome support system. And so they lean on me for advice. And I love that. And I love watching them grow and learn different things and expand their business. Same thing with realtors, offering the free marketing classes to our realtor partners helps them expand their business, and we don't expect anything in return. So it's just great to be able to open our hearts and our families in our office and help people. And eventually it does come back around in a monetary fashion. But in the meantime, it's just great to build these extra relationships because you never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to help, and how you can change their life.
Agree. Great answer. Now, this question is kind of self-serving. So I didn't come up with it. I do understand it. What do you love about working at Hancock Mortgage Partners?
It is a family. I worked at companies before where everybody was very competitive and it was like a dog-eat-dog world where if you'd go out to a closing, you could come back and there was somebody else in the office that was trying to steal your customers. That is not a way to run a company. Hancock Mortgage has something that I have not seen in any other company, and I have spoken to a lot of mortgage companies in my time in the industry. We really are a family. Like the branch managers, we communicate between ourselves. We bounce ideas off of each other. Like I was talking about sharing information, it's great that everybody in the company shares with wide open arms. So if something works for Alex up in Tennessee, he doesn't keep that to himself. He shares it with everybody so that, Doug in Texas can be successful with it, or Greg, who's also in Tennessee, can be successful with it. Everybody shares. Absolutely love it.
I'm with you on that. One of the points that I want to hit on for this one is you actually reached out to my coach, Ryan Stuman, at one point in time and asked him about who to go talk to in South Carolina. He steered you towards one specific individual, and you went and visited, and if I remember correctly, called me within about 24 hours after visiting that to find out about my company because that was not going to be a good fit with you.
Yeah. Well, and what had, I guess my first real interaction with Hancock is I saw some of your posts through Ryan Stuman and BFA. And then I saw some of Alex's stuff and some of Greg's stuff, and everybody that kept popping up was, related to Hancock. But on one of the feeds, I'd asked them questions about funnels because I was trying to learn how to build funnels and, expand my marketing. And you reached out and said, hey, if you've got any questions, just give me a call. So I called you. It was back in May or June, I think. You were driving to the airport, as you always are when I call you. And and you were so helpful and gave me tons of information, told me pages to check out, said, if you need any help, give me a buzz. I'll be happy to, answer any more questions or point you in the right direction. And you left it at that. You weren't the hard sell, hey, come and work for me. Didn't even mention it. And so then I started to follow more people from Hancock, saw what awesome human beings every single person at Hancock was. And then when I went down to Columbia to see how a different loan officer taught their marketing class, not impressed with the salesmanship there, although there was some pretty high pressure tactics to try and get me to join his team. I immediately thought, I need to be with Hancock because they're giving, they are smart, and it's just a family. You guys are so helpful to everybody. So that is why I decided to join y'all.
That's amazing. I never knew the front end of that story. I did not realize that I had helped you before we had that conversation. So that's awesome. I love hearing that.
Yep.
What is one obstacle that you had to overcome as a loan officer? Give me something that may be something that's a normal day. Give me something that maybe, like you said earlier, the bankruptcy. Give me an obstacle that you had to overcome to become as awesome as you are today.
For me, the biggest obstacle that I still struggle with currently is just putting myself out there. So I love meeting one-on-one with customers, one-on-one with realtors, but marketing myself and networking is very difficult for me. I'm an introvert. So I have had to force myself to, get up in front of people and teach classes and meet with large groups of people. And just put myself out there on Facebook. I used to be a very private person on Facebook. Whenever I used to get to 100 friends, I'd start deleting people because I don't know more than 100 people. Now, and now I'm like, how do I get more friends? How do I get more friends? So I've really had to put myself out there and just realize, if I open myself up completely, trust the process, that it's all going to work out good in the end. So it's been great. I think people have, received me really well. And it reminds me of what you say, people are afraid of doing Facebook Live videos because, what are people going to think of me? My hair's not going to look right. I might say something wrong. You just got to be an imperfect action taker. Get out there, do it, and learn from your mistakes.
Agree. You know who doesn't make mistakes?
Nobody.
People who don't try.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
That's awesome. Did you always want to be a mortgage loan officer? If so, why? If no, what were you pursuing to do before you became a mortgage loan officer?
I had always wanted to be in nursing, and I was on that path when life, dealt me a different hand. So like I mentioned earlier, I had gone through some pretty major medical problems, and which led to medical debt, which led to me having to file bankruptcy, losing our home to foreclosure. And that, coupled with a marriage that was already not the best, led to a divorce. So there I was, a single mom of 2 kids back in 2006. And I couldn't work night shift anymore at the hospital because I had to take care of the kids. So I needed a Monday through Friday job. And that is why I started off as a loan officer assistant. And then when I was able to fix my own credit and purchase a house again, and I got that awesome feeling of feeling like a true parent again, that's what made me decide I want to do nothing other than this for the rest of my life.
Awesome. What is one piece of advice you would give to someone looking to purchase a home?
Talk to somebody who knows what they're doing.
Great advice.
Goodness. I don't know. There's so much I could tell people. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. As far as talking to somebody that knows what the heck they're doing, I know it's kind of hard to know. If you've never bought a home before, how do you know whether or not somebody knows what they're doing? I would recommend that you steer clear of any big box banks, because a lot of the times when you call into their mortgage department, you're dealing with a customer service person who, if your questions on a Rocket Mortgage don't fit into their yes or no boxes on their computer screen, they might give you a false pre-approval. And so then as you go through the process, you're going to start being out money for inspections and appraisals, only to find out down the road that the person that you talked to didn't really know what they were doing. So if you talk to a mortgage loan officer that is individually licensed, like we at Hancock all are, we go through rigorous testing in order to get our license. We also have to do continuing education to stay up to date with all of the changes in our industry, because our industry changes by the minute. So it's best to talk to somebody who's individually licensed and who knows their information, rather than just a customer service person at the end of the telephone line.
That's great advice. That's absolutely wonderful. What I take from that is it may be better to go and sit down. If you're a first-time home buyer, go and sit down with somebody and make sure, regardless whether you let's say you have like personalities, if this person comes across to you as knowledgeable and secure in what they're doing, then that may be somebody who's good for you to work with, as opposed to a nameless, faceless, breathless computer, or a system that's not necessarily designed for the greater majority of people, but for a small percentage. If I heard you say this earlier, it's most likely their largest purchase that they have ever done before up until this point in their life. And to me, I want to sit across the table. I want to look that person in the eye. I want to shake their hand. I want to know that they have my best interest at heart, that they're giving me the best advice that they can possibly give, as opposed to yesterday, they may have been working at the Gap.
Correct. And that's also a reason, and I guess another tip would be to make sure that you use a realtor that's a full-time realtor. If you use a realtor that's a part-time realtor, they may close 1 or 2 transactions a year for their friends and family. They are not up to snuff with what they need to be doing in order to properly help you. I've also seen people run into problems by using family members for their realtor, and that gets tricky because if you get frustrated with them during the process, which everybody gets frustrated with the realtor at some point in time, it's a business relationship. You want to be able to hold that person accountable and make sure that they're doing what is in your best interest and not just what's easy for them. And so sometimes it's hard to have those tough conversations with somebody that's friend or family. So that's why I always recommend using a realtor that is not a friend or a family, because then you're able to actually be more comfortable holding them accountable because it's a business relationship and not necessarily just a friendship.
No, great answer. Great answer. Respect that. I agree with you completely on the full-time realtors. If I'm going to trust the largest purchase of my life, most likely, I want that person to be in the business full-time. I don't want to use a part-time financial planner that also works as a Walmart greeter.
Correct. So you don't go to part-time doctors, so don't use part-time realtors.
So here's my last question, and I'm trying to throw you off on this one. My idea behind this is I want the real world to know who you are. You said you were introverted, that you lean towards being introverted, and I want to throw you off on this one. So get ready for this one. Are you ready?
Yep.
It's springtime, summertime. It's a Sunday afternoon. Here's Jennifer Miller, Mr. Miller, and the kids. Tell me what you're doing.
Sitting in our backyard with an ice cold adult beverage in our hand, watching our 4 dogs run around the backyard. We have an awesome backyard and 4 cool dogs. We've got a little Shih Tzu named Biscuit and 3 French Bulldogs that are just the light of our lives, other than our 2 kids, of course.
Well, I have 3 dogs and 2 children, and I will tell you it's very up in the air. Most likely the dogs are the favorites at the moment, but...
And if they misbehave, you can put them in their crate. It's a little harder to do that with teenagers.
Just buy a bigger crate?
Buy a bigger crate, yeah.
Hey, I want to thank you very much for doing this. Impromptu, I like doing it off the cuff like this, but there's one thing I wanted to get across.
There are freaking awesome loan officers out there, and you, Jennifer Miller, are a freaking awesome loan officer, and I wanted to get this out to the public. Thank you very much for doing this. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Johnny.